Carly, if you were playing 20 questions with Tom, what question would you have asked?
I think that after Rhoda asked, is this a classic preparation? I would have clarified a little bit more. I mean, I don't know that much about cooking, right? Like I'm not a chef, but I think, is it French? Because he said he took a Spanish route. And if he said no, then I think that would help narrow down some of the flavor profile.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's a great, really great follow-up question. I was thinking I liked the direction they were going with, like, does it have a protein? Is it a fish? Like, I think that gave them good starting direction, and then kind of clarifying what fish toward the end, since they didn't need to cook that as early. Like, I thought those were all good questions, and then trying to figure out the preparation of it too. So probably something in that realm that they were asking. But I thought overall it was very fun questions, and like the back and forth with the chefs and Rhoda's reaction to Jonathan, where she was
Absolutely.
like, what are you asking? And then she was like, okay, that was a great question. And then he asked the next one and she's like, no, we're back. It was so good. But lots to talk about with this episode.
Here at Track Your Knives, we're not your traditional recap podcast, and we're really happy to have you here. Not only are we looking at power rankings and fantasy leagues, but we also love starting off with different pieces of data and information, just questions that we have as we're watching Top Chef. And as the season is getting closer and closer and closer to the finale, we are really excited that pretty soon we're going to have a winner of the power rankings. Yes. And that winner, once they make it to Paducah, they will get a chef-curated meal at Sara Bradley's Fright House. And boy, do we have some news today.
Yes. Yeah. Let's not bury the lead. We have a new power rankings leader. So
by 1 point.
1 point. So Deg SF has overtaken Michelle by 1 point. This week they got the bonus question right, which really bumped them up. So we've got a big contest for this last episode that I am very, very excited about.
Yeah, it's going to be tight because I believe they both also put the same person as their winner pick. So it will come down to their rankings.
Yeah. Yeah. So very, very exciting to see how that plays out. But before that, let's talk about this episode. I thought this was one of the best episodes of Top Chef that we've had in a long time. Like really great cooking just across the board, from the quick fire to the challenge. I thought both challenges were really good with the 20 questions and then this kind of unconventional plating. And any time you end with like a happy Tom, like that's a great episode. Like I love a grumpy Tom, like that is very entertaining, but man, it's just like, there's something just like so nice to end an episode where you can tell Tom is just so happy about how everything went. So I really enjoyed this episode. What about you?
I did too. I really liked the different ways of plating and the way that people took it on. I think with Sherry choosing the clothesline situation, it reminded me of how the judges asked Seeger, I think this was the fishing one, where like, how do you tie together your fish and your lentils? And he's like, my spoon, your spoon. And so I thought it was really bold and dangerous to do it that way, but her doing it with the banchan, I think was super smart. And just that reference to Zoolander of like, is that a clothesline for ants? I love Zoolander. I quote it a lot. I don't know that Tom and Sherry necessarily got the reference, so I'm just really happy they left that in, because I think about that a lot.
Yeah, it's so good. Well, we have a lot of fun analysis to talk about for this episode just around the final four and how they compare to previous seasons. And dang, they are good. So let's talk about how this top four compares to the data that you have for all of the previous seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. So as a reminder, I'm going to be using a term NPT plus. It's the Top Chef equivalent of the baseball OPS plus. And so it's looking at the percent of times chefs were not in the bottom and the percent of times that chefs were at the top or won, and combining that and then standardizing it across all seasons. It's just one additional way to look at chefs other than the win rate, right? Because Sherry is doing so well, but has only won 2 elimination challenges. So looking across all seasons after this episode, Lawrence and Rhoda are ranked 12th and 15th overall.
Yeah.
Across the upper 300s of Top Chef contestants. And Sherry is ranked 33rd. Even with getting eliminated, Jonathan is ranked 74th. All of them are better than the average Top Chef. Their NPT plus is above 100. And Lawrence and Rhoda are actually really quite close to being twice as good as the average Top Chef, with an NPT plus of Lawrence at 194 and Rhoda at 188.
Wow.
They're very impressive. And I also, even though he got 6th place, I want to give Anthony his flowers. He's ranked 20th. And so when he was eliminated, they lost a really strong chef.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. I'm actually curious. So those are all pretty high rankings. Have there been other seasons where the chefs in the final four have been ranked all this high?
This is a really impressively strong season. The most impressive season was in season 6, Las Vegas, which had the Voltaggio brothers and Kevin Gillespie, the three of whom just were really, really good throughout, as well as Joe Carroll. And so they have season 6 is ranked, their final four on average is better than this. In 3rd is another season where just qualitatively, I feel like it was a really strong final four, which was season 12, Boston. Maylin, Gregory Gourdet, Melissa King in her first season, and Doug Adams. And
those are all legends of Top Chef.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I think that this season is really entering that caliber.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I'm excited to see what they all do post this show. They're all just amazing. And I was actually watching 24 and 24. I think I had texted you about it, and my seasons are all out of whack. I don't know what's happening with Food Network, but the season numbers, randomly season 2 was in the middle of season 3 or something. I don't know what was happening, but anyways, Lawrence was on season 2. And so I was like, oh, hey, there's Lawrence. And then he was on Beat Bobby Flay last week, and he made Chung Fun. And so when he mentioned it, when that's what he made this episode, my husband, who does not really watch Top Chef, but watched Beat Bobby Flay with me, was like, wait, that sounds familiar. It's the same dish. So it was cool that those aired around the same time. And we got to see that. But yeah, he's done some great competition shows, but I'm excited to see what kind of the three of them do with the Top Chef kind of fame that they're getting.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. So with the top 4 analysis, is there other analysis that you've done with the top 4?
Yeah, so last year at this time, I did an article on packyourknives.com. So you can go in the archives in June or look up on packyourknives.com, look up gender, and this will pop up. So there have only been 3 seasons with more women than men at the final 4.
Wow.
Yeah. So season 4, Chicago, season 9, Texas, and season 16, Kentucky. Yay, Sarah Bradley. And so this season was the 11th time that there's been an equal number of men and women at the Final Four. When we look at the 10 other seasons that had an equal number of men and women at the Final Four, it's about, I think it's like 6 of them, 6 of the 10 have gone on to have a man win as opposed to a woman. I think that because we have 2 women in the final 3, we might see a woman win, which we haven't had since Melissa King won All-Stars pre-COVID.
Yeah. Was that season 18?
17.
17.
Yeah.
We're due.
So we are. Yeah. So honestly, this final 3 is phenomenal, and I'll be happy whoever wins. But it's interesting to think about and, compare to Tournament of Champions, where it was season 7 was the first time a man won, and that's blind tasting, as opposed to in Top Chef, everyone always knows who's cooking.
Yeah.
So I have some thoughts, but I think it's just good to at least look at the data and keep that in mind.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, and I agree. Of these 3, I don't have a favorite. I love for any of them to win. I'll be happy with that. So that's the first time I feel in a long time where it's been I don't care who wins. I'd love for any of them to get the title. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. Well, one thing you and I thought would be fun. So looking at our leagues and the draft order that our leagues drafted the chefs in the final 4, and then kind of comparing those. And so I'll start with mine, but yours is very impressive. So I'm excited to get to it. So our league took Anthony number 1. And then for the final 4, we had Rhoda as number 2, Jonathan is number 3. And I was laughing as I was going back through our text thread for the draft, because the person that took number 3, someone had screenshotted all the chefs, and he's like, I don't remember anyone. I'm just going to go off pictures. And then he's like, I'll take one of the twins. I'll do Jonathan. And so there was not a lot of strategy in that, but hey, a great pick. And then we had Lawrence in 6th, and then Sherry in 9th, with both. Wow, we do a snake draft. So that went to the same person in our league, got Lawrence and then Sherry. So
yeah, Katie did.
Pretty spread out. Yeah, I know. But yeah, your league did really well. Do you want to talk through your draft order?
Yeah, I hadn't thought about this. And so I did a random generator, but I got first pick, and I chose Lawrence. Sherry was the second pick. Rhoda was the third pick. And so as we're heading into the final 3 and we look at the fantasy league points, those are in order the chefs. And so good job, my team. It's my work team. And then Jonathan was the 5th pick, which is very close to him being in 4th. So yeah, it was surprising how spot on all of our picks were the first go around.
That's awesome. And does your group do a lot of research ahead of time, or are they mostly just going off of the first episode?
Vibes. Yeah.
Yeah. My group does, some of them do research, some it's straight vibes. So it's all over the place in terms of the draft order. But for next year, what we were thinking about is building in a draft order onto the site, because I think it would be really interesting to compare this across all of the leagues and see how well people do in predicting. Because I was listening to Tom and Sarah's podcast earlier today, and Sara kind of walked through her order, and she ended up getting Lawrence, Sherry, and Rhoda as her first 3 picks, but those actually weren't her I think she had Jossie above maybe Sherry or Rhoda. I forget which one. But Tom took Jossie. And so she ended up getting those 3. But I think it would be interesting to kind of compare that next season and see how people do in predicting. And then speaking of predicting, so we were also looking at for the power rankings at the start of the season, everyone chose who their winner pick would be. And so 41 people picked Lawrence. And so what we talked about is if Lawrence ends up winning, our top 2 in the power rankings have Lawrence. So that's not going to change the score between those 2. And then Rhoda was the second. So she had 33 people pick her as the winner at the start of the season. And then other top vote getters. So Anthony had 26, and Dwayne as well. And Sherry only has 15. So I think our 3rd place person has Sherry. So that will give them a nice bump if she ends up winning this. So will definitely be fun to see how that breaks out too next week.
Yeah. And you chose Lawrence as your winner?
I had Anthony.
Oh, you had Anthony.
Winner.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I had Jonathan.
Womp womp.
Yeah.
That was a good pick though, to get in 4th.
Yeah. Yeah. Baby twin.
Yeah. And he was so entertaining this episode.
Oh yeah. He's great. Yeah. And I forget if Tom is the younger twin between him and his sister, but yeah, baby twin all the way.
Yeah. Baby twin. All right. Well, let's get into power rankings for this week. So lots of kind of looking back at the data and analysis, but for this week, I got 7 points out of quick math, 11 points. And then you got 3. It's really sad when the point numbers, like the total point numbers get so small too. Like, but I had Sherry winning. And then, so I basically was like, I want to do a pick where I think I can get more points. And so I was like, Sherry, probably less people are going to pick her. So I'm going to go for that. And then last week we were talking like, there's usually someone that squeaks in that maybe wasn't the top the whole season. And so I put Rhoda at the bottom because I was like, let me just in case. And then I should have just kept it. But that was my logic this week. What about you?
Yeah, I wanted to manifest the final 3 that I had talked about with you last week of Lawrence, Jonathan, and Rhoda. So I had Lawrence first, then Jonathan, then Rhoda. So the fact that Jonathan went home definitely didn't get me those points. And I had Sherry going home. Sad. But she didn't go home. So happy.
Yeah, I know. That's what's hard about this is like, what do you want versus what's going to get you points?
Yeah.
It's hard to know. Well, cool. And then for the bonus question, so as we mentioned, that's actually what ended up making the difference in the top 2 in the power rankings. So Rhoda ended up winning the final quickfire of the season. So across the board, how many people ended up getting that right?
Yeah, 33, which is one of my lucky numbers, but 33 players chose 3 different chefs. So Lawrence, Rhoda, and Sherry each had 33 people saying that they would win the quickfire. Jonathan only had 9. So, I think a decent number of people sort of had the writing on the wall for Jonathan, both in terms of quickfire and elimination, which we'll get into. In terms of the number of bonus questions that people have gotten right, Serafina and DegSF remain tied, with this episode getting their 6th bonus question right.
Amazing.
Very well done. And there were some folks who got their first bonus question right this season. So great timing. Sweat a Minute, which is a great name. Mel B, Caitlin with an 8. Very skater boy. Love it. Julia RH, Josh in Japan, and Emily. So congrats for getting those 3 points.
Yes. Congrats, everyone. All right. Well, let's jump into then how everyone did in predicting the winner and eliminated, which I think we kind of already alluded to how they did with eliminated. But what about the winner?
Yeah. Well, so before we get into that, I just want to say it's really fun that 43 people have played every single week. And there are 47 people, myself included, who have only missed one. So like having almost 100 people playing every week is really, really cool. And I'm really happy that we've been doing this. This week we had 126 players and 14 of them got a perfect score. Who is Serafina, Ratatouille, or it was actually Radotouille, Phil Yo. My notes say Philly, but I think that's a typo. I've like memorized some of y'all's names because you keep showing up as being awesome. Max S, Katie R, Julia RH, Jimmy Eat Wordle, Gingerful, M Dash, Carrie A, Ben 4321, B Bizarro, Bizardo, Barbara C, and Anne.
Nice.
So they got perfect scores.
That's great.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Yeah. And what's not impressive is that of the 126, there were 15 of us, myself included, that got 3 or fewer points. So that's not impressive.
No.
I mean, I think it would have been impressive if someone got, actually, you know what is impressive?
Anyone with 2 points?
Yes, there are, I think, are 3. And congrats to you for getting it exactly wrong.
I love that so much.
I love that. Yeah. Uh-huh. Good job.
We should start shouting that out next season. Oh, that's so funny. And we had our top 10. So as we mentioned, Deg SF and Michelle P swap spots this week. And then we have Pure XJ, who's been holding down the 3rd spot. Top Dog, Creamy Risotto, Rebecca, Max S, Gingerful, Big Mama, EA Fetter, and Cosmic Cave Soup. I did get an email from Cosmic Cave Soup today that said they had dropped down to about 28th, and their goal is to get back into the top 10 by the end of the season. And so they were so ecstatic that they got back into the top 10. So congrats to you. And they said that they were like, oh my gosh, the top 2 are down to 1 point. And they're like, this is more exciting than even the end of the season. So I'm glad some people are as nerdy as us and into this. Love it. And then sorry, Coster 077 dropped out of the top 10 this week. So sorry to see you go.
Yeah, I mean, it is close. So last week, a follow-up, when we had a final 5, I was looking at the top 3 and bottom 3, which doesn't make sense because then one person in the middle is being counted twice. So I looked again at last week, looking at the top 2, the winner in the top 2 and the eliminated chef in the bottom 2. So last week, 46% of players had Rhoda in their top 2. And 77% had Seeger in their bottom 2. It's pretty comparable to this week. Last week, 46 had Rhoda in the top. This week, 38 had Sherry in their top 2. And 80% had Jonathan in the bottom 2.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. So then in terms of what order they came in, so we know Jonathan had the most amount of being eliminated. Who did they have ranked at the top? Curious how that was
Lawrence.
Okay.
Yeah. So by a lot, 69 people chose him as most likely to win. And then the next highest was Rhoda at 25. So it wasn't particularly close, though it meant that people were wrong. Right. So there were 17 people who chose Sherry as the winner, and all but 3 of those also chose Jonathan as the one to be eliminated. And looking at even though Rhoda's average rank was better than Sherry's, if we look at the if we look at just the top three is not that interesting. Yeah, I mean, 106 of the 126 had Lawrence in the first or second slot. So people were really thinking it was going to be Lawrence winning.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. That's awesome. Well, let's talk about next episode. It's the finale. The preview looks like it's going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited.
Me too. And I think I should look into the number of times because they're not going anywhere, right?
No, it didn't look like it.
Yeah. I think there's always been, like, they've always traveled, even if it's domestically, like in Seattle, they went to Anchorage, Juneau. Other times they went to Hawaii domestically. So yeah, I think that's an interesting component. And part of me wonders about the role of the lack of sponsorship from Delta. And that they couldn't pay for flights for all of the crew and contestants to go abroad or even go to a different place within the U.S. But yeah, I'm very excited. The food looked beautiful. So well done to the photographers and videographers who do those beauty shots. Ooh, makes me hungry.
Oh, looks so good. And I came across this post on Instagram. I need to go find and maybe repost it, but they talked about like what each chef needs to do and not do in this finale to win or potentially lose it. So I'll find that and repost it and send it over. But I thought it was a really nice analysis that they did of kind of how each chef cooks and where they kind of have some pitfalls that they run into in challenges. I thought it was really interesting. So it'll be cool to see how they can either lean in on their strengths or if they kind of fall to some of the things that have hurt them in previous challenges. Yeah, excited to see it. Let's wrap it up with fantasy leagues today. So just a couple scoring notes we wanted to talk through, not necessarily for this episode, but just kind of across the season. The final three are now at the top of the board. So I think Rhoda's kind of been down a little bit given she went home and then came back. So we now have them actually ranked at the top of the fantasy league in terms of scoring. We mentioned Lawrence has 4 wins, Sherry with 2, and Rhoda with 3. So they've all contributed quite a bit on the wins side. But impressively, and we talked about this a bit up top, but Sherry's consistency, she's had 6 top finishes plus 2 wins. So she's been in the top 8 times out of the 13 episodes and only in the bottom once. And so even though she's only won twice, she's lagging behind Lawrence by only 10 points. So she's pretty close. So it's based on how we did our scoring. I know, I think Tom and Sara have done some different scoring. But we have Lawrence with 67 points, Sherry with 57, and Rhoda with 42. So that will, I think, actually with the way we're doing the finale scoring, and keep me honest here, Carly, but the season winner gets 25 points. If Rhoda wins, her and Lawrence are tied. Unless we add other points.
Do we deduct 10 points for both the 2 losers of being eliminated? Because if so, then
we
Lawrence
should look at that. Yeah. Okay.
And just check with
Let's
Tom
double
and Sara.
check that. Yeah. That's a good question. I don't know that we've done that in past seasons, but maybe at least within our friend group. But we'll check and confirm that. But that would be wild if they ended up tied. But I feel like the last few seasons you had Tristan who just like ran away with the points. So regardless of if Schwei had won, or was it Bailey? Regardless of who won, like they weren't beating Tristan in terms of like fantasy league points. And I think the previous season, Danny might have been pretty far ahead too. So it's nice that this one's kind of up in the air for who can win. So as we said, this is a great group of chefs, so we're very excited to see how they do. Also looking at just like the fantasy league boards for the chefs and the points earned. Anything interesting to call out there?
Yeah, so Lawrence had his first ever negative points episode.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so
At the very end.
At the very end.
That's crazy.
And Sherry had her best ever episode with a quickfire high and an elimination win.
Awesome.
Jonathan ends the season with a positive score at 5 points, though he had just under half, 6 of the 13 episodes, he had negative scores. So I would say him ending in the positive is great. Dwayne and Brandon thus are still fantasy league point wise above him. And I want to call out that even though Anthony has been gone for 2 episodes and Rhoda was out for a while, she only just surpassed him. And yeah, and with so she has 42 points and he has 41. And so even though he placed 6th, his fantasy league score puts him in 4th place. So just want to give him his flowers again.
Yes. All right, well, let's close out fantasy leagues talking about how all of our leagues are doing. And I can kick us off with our league, Kicking It with Kish. Barry said it, Katie's killing us. She has 2 of the 3 finalists. I think she has 100 and something points. She's never had a negative points episode. So we're going to chalk it up to beginner's luck here that she just happened to grab 2 of the best chefs. But no, she's, crushing us. So congrats to you, Katie. I know you're listening.
Yeah, and there's another team within Family League. Team 2 also has both Sherry and Lawrence. So nice. Katie and this person are tied when you look at the average score for a chef within someone's fantasy team. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's really going to go to her head now.
And then in my league, I have a Kate, not a Katie, but a Kate who has surpassed me and is ahead by 11 points. And so we each only have 1 chef left. She has Sherry, I have Lawrence. So it really comes down to next week.
Yeah,
which is fun. Do we have time for some looking into the PYK?
Yeah, we've got a few more. Yeah.
Okay. So what I did was I just looked at how folks were doing within the Pack Your Knives leagues and just wanted to see whether there would be any opportunity for anyone to catch up to that league's leader. So for Pack Your Knives 3, No Reservations is probably going to win. I think they're ahead by more than 25 points and they have both Sherry and Lawrence.
Wow. Yeah.
And in PYK 8, no one can catch up to Cosmic Cave Soup. They ended up with all 3 finalists.
What?
Yeah. And
can I ask her how she did that?
Yeah, and I didn't double check this with actually looking at the data. I was eyeballing it, so I could be wrong. But I think Cosmic Cave Soup is the only player with 4 or 5 chefs who have all 3 finalists. So they just really kicked everyone's butt there. In terms of where it's up for grabs, in Pack Your Knives 4, Risotto Curse is still ahead, but Y Jacket 42's team has 2 finalists and Risotto Curse only has 1. So that could be a last minute upset. And ditto for Pack Your Knives 10. M Croissant has 1 finalist, and Jacob's Judges Table, run by MJ, has 2. Yeah, so it's those teams that have 2 that will likely be able to get at the top at the very end.
Yeah.
I also wanted to shout out that there are a number of teams with teams of 3 with 2 finalists. So that's a good ratio. And some of those folks are team 2 of League Michelle's team of League Glizzadocious, Team 4 of League Tom's Hats, which we only saw one of this season, I think.
Yeah, not enough hats.
Not enough hats. Team 3 of Pup Chef, G&T of League Michigan Fans, Go Blue. The Go Blue is what I said. Hopefully they're not Michigan State. But Team 3 of Tom Foolery League and Lagogo of Top Chef Fantasy League. So, they're doing really well with having 2 finalists.
That's great.
And then looking at teams of 5, there are 2 teams with all 3 finalists. So very, very good picks. And that's Susan of LeBaire, Top Chef 26, and Mom's team of Cook for Auntie. So
that's awesome.
Good job. Y'all are killing your leagues.
Yes. Congratulations to all of you. I've never won our fantasy league in the 5 or 6 years we've been doing it. So I'm very
not going to be this year.
No, it's not. Oh, sad. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up for today. Can't wait for the finale next week. And I know we'll have lots of fun things to dig in for the final 3. Reminder to submit your rankings on find-topchef.com. Who knows what time it will air? It may be 9 Eastern. It may be 9:45 Eastern. Maybe it will be on time at 9:30. We won't know until Kristen posts about it on Instagram, probably. So just keep an eye on that. Make sure you get your rankings in. This one will be crazy because it's 3 chefs. So we'll have the rankings, and then we'll have the winner, who you picked at the start of the season, where you can earn points. So low point getter, but I think it'll be very important to determining who lands where. And then make sure you check out all the great content on packyourknives.com. Don't miss Tom and Sarah's episode recaps. They're just so much fun. And Sarah just drops so much knowledge and talks about how maybe she would have approached the challenges too, which I always love to hear from her perspective. I think that's it. Anything else, Carly, you want to shout out?
Just to say that Maze, our producer, said that it's the sign of a true fantasy league, and he typed that right after you were saying how you will never win. And so I'm interpreting that as the people who care the most always lose.
Yeah.
But we still do it. We still do it. Yeah, you lose. He says, you lose year after year, but keep coming back. The hunger only grows. Exactly.
One time. It's like gambling. It's like you're finally going to hit big, but.
Yeah. And I bet that whichever of Michelle and Deg SF don't win this year, like they're coming back next year with a vengeance.
Yes. Yeah. So that will be fun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for listening. And this has been Track Your Knives.